This one I'm just going to talk. There's a bunch of, at one point, remember, it was probably about 2 or 3 years ago, very, very strong vision came through that was clear and simple. And it was a man standing over me, and he said, "Are you just going to let anybody in?" And it was this idea of like, clean up, stop engaging and talking with so many. Ironically, now I'm on here. Jesus Christ. That just smacked me, by the way. Okay, can we put that aside so I can keep telling that story? Okay. It's like the story is old as time, right? It's the same tales that we read in the Bible about, like, somebody does good and then they crash and burn. And I think it's like the idea that somebody's not balanced within, right? It's like they go with whatever. It's like, just look in today's world. Like, there's people who end up rising to the top. Like, whatever rises them to the top, they end up, meaning they do well in life and what we would traditionally consider as successful in whatever it is. They become known for that, or do well monetarily for that, or become the best in their industry for that, or whatever the case may be. That's what I mean. And they then become that, right? Like, they take on that identity and they make up in their mind, or maybe reality as well, that then they need to be perceived a certain way and they have to follow certain guidelines to adhere to that identity, to maintain that identity, to maintain that level of success. They need to keep that mask on. Right now they have formed that identity that they have attached so tightly to, that now they have to stick to those guidelines. And they can no longer, I guess, be human, because then others judge them and others are like, wait a minute, right? Like, because it can dismantle that entire identity, right? And so we've seen that happen so many times, where we expect certain behavior from people once they reach a certain status. And when they fail to meet those expectations, it's like we shred them. We rip them right from that space. Sometimes, I guess, rightfully so. Other times, it's like, when are we going to learn the lesson? It's like, are they just an example to show us, stop identifying as what you have done? And we all need to take ownership of that. Like, don't identify as what you've become, and don't, it's like, pigeonhole yourself and allow your dark and light. We all have it. We all have that shadow within us. We just need to be in charge of it. But we also need to, it's like, utilize it at times, or be in it at times. In other words, if you continue to suppress that, one day it will eat you alive, right? So this is like the story as old as time. I mean, this is not new news. Yeah, but so I guess, okay, so I don't know how to explain that. It's everything I just said, but then they're also kind of showing it like, sometimes people utilize the good to cover up the bad. I think what they're showing is like, some people aren't, it's like they take advantage of that good identity they've created to do bad. This is the idea of like smiling in your face, stabbing you in the back. This is, forgive me for saying this, but this is like a Bill Cosby thing, right? But, like, we all loved him and adored him. But then we found out, and that's he's billions out there that have done that. We love and adore so many, and it's like the amount of pressure for them to now be perfect, loved, and adored is impossible. So then it's like the worst gets expressed from them on the back end. I'm not giving them an excuse. I'm not saying this is okay. I'm saying that's a prime example of what occurs. It's not just him who had to, but I mean, the amount of pressure that we then put on our, he was so many people's hero. So again, I'm not saying any of this is okay. I'm trying to understand what they're showing me and explaining how we work as humans and how I think they're showing how we misunderstand. Okay, so I think it is that example they're showing, but then we do tear them down. It's like we discard all the good, but we also, God, I don't know it's like we don't take responsibility for our part. And it's like it's like throwing stones when we live in a glass house. Yeah. I mean, celebrities really do get it, don't they? Because they're on display. So one could argue they have more responsibility and they get the benefit of it. And one could argue, no, they worked hard to get where they're at. Oh, is that the idea of the previous one you were trying to show? So then you could consider some of them angels. This could go many different ways. I'm not sure I'm understanding what they're trying to get me to share. I mean, I guess it's all of it that I think we all understand all these complex dynamics though. And so what's the main point? The main point is always, right, for us to fully love and accept ourselves. So we're all responsible for that as viewers, as spectators, but also as, those who end up rising to the top are also responsible for fully loving and accepting themselves and allowing themselves to be themselves always and forever, and not allow that identity that got them to where they were at take over them, take their life over, which happens a lot because, you hear all the horror stories where they did things that they weren't proud of to get to where they are. Oh, sorry, they're showing me an example. I couldn't understand why they were showing me this the other day. But then it's like once they reach that spot, it's like the devil comes out, right? And is like, oh, I want to blackmail you now, or let me show you who you used to be and try to bring you back down to that old timeline. Forget all of the work you've done since then, this kind of thing. Which then just adds more pressure to all of us, right? But it's more pressure to all of us to fully love and accept ourselves and not be so hard on ourselves. Like, let's not add so much pressure to ourselves. Yes, you want to stay in alignment with you. Yes, you always want to operate from your heart. And guess what? You're not always going to. You are going to fuck up. But a lot of times our fuck ups are also our biggest catapults. So you also want to fuck up. You don't want to consciously fuck up, right? If you're always coming from your heart, you're still going to fuck up. But then when you fuck up, it's a learned lesson to propel you forward, to see better, to love yourself, to forgive yourself, and to move forward, versus deviously, consciously fucking up. And then it's just a different experience. They were showing me somebody who was nobody. And then they did a lot of things that, forgive me, but we would all stereotype this type of behavior and these actions as whorish and gold digging and all these things. And she ended up doing phenomenally well and getting massive. And she knew. I mean, she even said in a few interviews and whatnot, like she knew she was going to be considered all those things. And then all that money, the man she married and all that money she was attached to ended up crumbling, right? Because built on faulty foundations, so it always ends up crumbling. And it's again, the story's old as time. All those answers are all there. Yet, when we were talking about it, because they brought me to it was a very, it's not anybody that any of you were thinking of, because I was even like, why, this is such an odd, but it allowed me to see the basic simplicity, I guess, without having any of my own preconceived notions, because I didn't really know enough about them to care, just for, whatever. And nonetheless, as we continue talking about it, I kept thinking, how does she feel about that? She's fine now, but it's like, I'm sure she did. I'm sure she beat herself up to no end. And I wonder if she ever wished she never even stepped into that world. And I thought, you know what? I hope she doesn't. I hope she's happy that she made all those decisions, because she's really, really grown from them. And now she is doing really well. And she wouldn't be where she's at right now had she not made all those mistakes. She really wouldn't have. She wouldn't have. And she probably would have been really sad. She probably would have ended up, I don't know what. I mean, maybe even a drug addict. I mean, probably not, but only because I learned more about her. And who knows? The point is, it's not for any of us to judge, right? Or throw stones at their glass house, because we're all living in glass houses too. And it's like, we don't want to regret. We want to learn from and realize they needed to happen. Those are lessons we needed to learn, to understand. Ultimately, it all boils down to knowing what real love is for oneself, right? Are you staying aligned and true with you, or are you abandoning you to get outside of you? And the thing is we really do have to experience these things to feel them, to understand them, to integrate them, to recognize them so that we can actually see them and be able to consciously decide, are we staying aligned and true and honoring and loving us? Or are we leaving us, abandoning us, going outside ourselves because we don't think we're worthy, staying aligned and whole and true to us? And so we are going to, quote, look for love outside ourselves. Put somebody else ahead of us. It's what it's teaching us. That's the bare bones basics of it. Everything we experience. And so some of us really do have to learn the hard way. And we have to go through the life we go through until we get it, right? And it's okay. It's like you're going to keep messing up and it's going to keep hurting and so some of us is going to keep hurting more and more and more and more until we recognize, oh my God, I keep abandoning me. The little child in me. I'm not honoring me. I'm not staying aligned with me. What's right for me, for my highest and greatest good, which is then saying, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not whatever. I have to seek outside myself to fill that void. No, that's not how it works. And so some of us have to learn some real tough lessons. And there's a saying about that. There's a saying, one of my teachers used to say it. And I think she was quoting somebody else who was quoting somebody else. So you never knew. You know who I think the origin is of everything. It's all love. It's all from unconditional love. But it's something about like, it'll come on with a whisper, and then it'll be a normal tone. Then it'll get louder. Then it'll be a yell. Then there'll be screaming. Then there'll be, all types of things. And then eventually the brick wall will fall on top of you. So it's like, unconditional love will do, and see that we put it on him, but I don't know that that's always the case. Anything to get your attention. So we look at it as like punishment sometimes. Maybe that was why the other one, I don't know if this was in this one or the one previously. Somehow I think the two of them are supposed to be linked, and I'm not sure how yet, but maybe that it's the idea of like, sometimes we have to go through horrific things because the universe is not trying to hurt us or punish us. And I don't think it's necessarily the universe doing that as much as it's trying to teach us to see and hear the lesson that we're not loving us. We're not standing up for us. We're not speaking up for us. We're not staying aligned with us, whatever it is. And it's an attempt to get us to do such. Sorry, I'm getting in my head because I'm thinking, sometimes they'll do this. They do this like split. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Is there something I need to? With as soon as that efforting or trying or worry starts, it's no good. So I'm going to jump off. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. You can now purchase an audio journey with me using the link below.